Hey, James.
Hey, James. Hey, Jim.
Hello.
Jim. There's Ken.
Hey, Ken. Daniel, Calvin, Michael.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing quite well. How's everybody else doing today?
Good.
Very well.
Hal, are you teaching us about Watt Shaver today?
I'm not. Jonathan is.
All right. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello. And it's not as much teaching about Watt Shaver. That is one of our products, but just a little plug on there of our products and how that can help with energy strategy.
I was recently down at Hal's church and he showed it to us. And if I had time to breathe, I would research it more. So I want to make sure I was here today.
Yeah. wattshaver.com, you'll find it.
Is everybody getting ready for the holidays at your churches, or a little bit of quiet before the storm?
Before the storm.
It's getting to be that time, but
Yeah. Had a big meeting yesterday about it and laying out everything, what we're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, our church is small enough. We don't have a huge staff. It's mostly volunteer staff. So for Christmas decorations, we have a special Sunday asking if folks want to stay behind.
I'll
Hey,
help
it's going to
everybody.
be the Sunday right after Thanksgiving or whatever, and we all stay and pull out the Christmas trees and decorations, and everybody does it as a church.
Nice.
Yep.
Otherwise, it used to be those 3 staff members who stay all day long and get overwhelmed and burned out, so.
Yeah.
Yep. We do the come back after lunch one Sunday and set everything up.
Do you do that mainly as a staff or invite congregation to help?
We invite the congregation. We used to do it as a staff, and some of the members said, well, we want to help decorate. We're like, great, we'll do it. You want to help take down too? No.
Always just the fun part, yeah.
Yes.
We do it as a staff day. It's a very fun day where the senior pastor just happens to be close to everybody while they're working, but maybe not actually touching anything. And hang up all the wreaths, do all the trees, and all that kind of stuff. And Christmas music everywhere. And then usually after Christmas, it's me and my one helper running around taking down everything and putting it away for the year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll spend the whole day before getting everything out, fluffed and set up, so the staff can come in and hang the colorful bits on it. So
Yeah, I think the takedown was about the same at our church last year. Just a few people stayed for takedown, and the Christmas trees were just walked back to the storage room and set in there. And
yep.
probably, you know how that goes. They sit in there like not in the boxes. They're put away until the end of January, maybe. with everybody pointing the finger at who's gonna go back there and do that.
Yeah, it's a little different for us at a Catholic church because we're not supposed to put out Christmas decorations before the end of Advent. So we
Ah,
really can't decorate it until the Sunday right before Christmas.
Yep.
So that's where
true.
it's very busy time. And fortunately, where I'm at now, they have a little bit of money, so we have people bring stuff in and have some vendors doing some of the work for us.
Mhm. And do you
We
guys
also do
keep,
really big trees. We have 4 14-foot pre-lit live trees.
Wow.
Neat.
Oh, where do you live?
In Dallas,
Okay. South Carolina, we're not allowed to have live trees in the buildings.
it's a Catholic thing because in Catholic liturgy, you're not supposed to have artificial stuff on the altar. It's got to be. We have stone and wood and live plants, and you're not supposed to have fake Christmas trees.
Well, I know in South Carolina, we're not allowed to have wreaths or Christmas trees. It all has to be artificial, just for fire safety. Our fire
Yeah.
marshal says something.
Yeah, it's funny when you're a church, you get some exemptions on some of that. So if you really want to push it, so,
I don't want to push it because that means I have to water a tree.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We have the Ultra Society takes care of most of that for us. So.
All right. Looks like most of everybody's here.
A little small turnout today.
Yep. We had a lot of people sign up, but
That was
things come up.
about half, but it's a good, this is a decent crowd compared to
Yeah.
some.
I
Yeah.
think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tori,
So
would you
you-
like to open us up in prayer?
Yeah, I'd happy to. You guys ready?
Sure.
Jesus, thank you for today and thank you for this time, Lord, for all of us to get together. Lord, we got holidays coming up. We got a lot of stress and we got a lot of people that we need to serve and help out and with their ministries, Lord, and just allow us to have the correct attitude and allow us to have peace as we move through these seasons, Lord. And we love you and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, today we have Jonathan Becker with HI Solutions do a little presentation for us. His focus in the company is with WattShaver, which is an energy management tool. So I'll turn it over to Jonathan now.
all right, thanks, Hal. And thank you guys for inviting me to share a little bit. We've been up to NACFM to their conference, the main conference last year, and then again this year. So that's been really enjoyable. My background is as an electrician. I'm a licensed electrician here in North Georgia and had my own company for a little while and now work with HI Solutions, and they've been in full building automation control for 50 years, starting back in the 70s when it was a brand new thing to do building automation and energy efficiency. What else? I guess that's enough about me, but oh yeah, I also was a facilities director at a Christian school here in North Georgia as well. Cherokee Christian School. I was facility director there for 3.5 years. So kind of have a little bit experience in facilities and then specialty in electrical and now moving into energy controls. And have been a long-term volunteer worship leader at various churches that I've been at. So that's my side hobby that I like to enjoy, using gifts there. So talking energy strategies, hopefully I won't talk too long. I'll try and breeze through this as we're going. And if you guys want to write questions down, or, I don't mind if you ask questions along the way as well. if I'm moving kind of fast, it's just because I want to get to the end of my little presentation, so I'm not presenting too long and get more to discussion and questions there. So, but if I'm moving fast on a subject, you want to be like, hey, tell me more on that, then by all means, feel free to jump in. So energy strategies at your congregation. What can you do with a church building? All sorts of commercial buildings are different sizes, different structures. And so they're going to be a little bit different at each one. And understanding that some buildings are running off of thermostats from the 50s, and some buildings have full building automation system, fully computer controlled. And then there's the whole gambit in between. So I'll be talking just a little bit about those different ones. Facility budgeting. As you guys know, most likely facilities normally is an average of 22% of your church's budget. So it's kind of, your responsibility is how do we really steward that well, the expenses of a church. Average medium-sized church, just looking over some numbers online, was annual budget of 1.5 million. That's for medium to smaller churches, I guess. I have medium large on here, but utilities is normally 8% of that. So for an average church, utilities would look somewhere in the 100 to 150,000 range for churches. And how do we affect that number? How do we bring it to a usable, or a point that we know is responsible, so to speak, especially with energy costs going up? I don't know about you guys, but living here in Georgia, Georgia power rates kind of post-pandemic have increased significantly over the past few years. They're up, 10 to 15% year over year. So that's just a little, where we're coming from. So at our company, we like to say that a full and complete system does all three of these aspects. You track what's going on in your building, you control what's going on in your building, and then you have it communicating with you. That's kind of like a full and complete system. So that's, our little kind of call sign: track, control, communicate. So I wanted to open with control because that's what most of you guys are already doing. To some extent, whether simple or highly complicated. Control. How can you control the energy within your building? Obviously, lighting upgrades is the one everybody's been harping on for like the past 10 years, maybe, getting those LED lighting upgrades, doing that. That is probably your biggest bang for the buck. The LED lights, the prices are coming down. The energy efficiency is really top notch. And so for the price you're going to pay, you're going to get a lot of that return on investment over the years doing the LED lighting upgrades. So I put on here incentives. Typically, that's going to be either sometimes federal incentives, depending on what Congress has got allocated and different things. You can look into some incentives for efficiency upgrades. I would say if you haven't, and you're still looking into those kinds of upgrades with lighting and sometimes even HVAC, check with your local power company if you haven't already. Here in Georgia, Southern Company, Georgia Power, actually has a whole lot that they do as far as credits and incentives towards energy efficiency upgrades. So even if at your church you're going to replace, the east wing fluorescent lighting with LED, go ahead and reach out to your local power company and see if they give a rebate. Sometimes they give just $25 per fixture. You send in a form. I'm doing 45 fixtures, $25 a piece, and they rebate that on your next bill. So it's a fairly simple process. So if you haven't thought of that, check with your local authorities, see if they do that. I'm pretty sure Duke Energy does that as well. I don't know, Chris, if you've checked into Duke there at all as far as incentives. I know they do some incentives programs up there. Duke covers a lot of North Carolina, South Carolina, some of Tennessee, a large swath of the Southeast here. And Southern Company kind of does another large swath. So those two cover a large part of the South and Southeast. Another way you can take control, people have been doing this for years, but there's, those motion switches or timers in certain rooms, including classrooms or rooms that are not often used, but maybe used on Sunday for Sunday school and that kind of thing. And then the lights get left on, far longer than they need to be. That's an option where you can obviously shave off some of that electrical usage when it doesn't need to be left on for an extra hour or 2 hours once everybody's gone. But you have those are a double-edged sword as well. If you're in the classroom teaching and you're not in that motion sensing zone, your lights might turn off in the middle of Sunday school, and everybody's got to dance and do this number to get them to turn back on. So, of course, that's would be situational, but a way to shave off, that 2% or 5% of your electrical costs. Again, looking over a whole year, just those 2% or those 5% add up to a significant amount at the end of the year. So smart stats. Smart stats are another way. Being in building automation with my company, we don't really like to suggest this, but we know we want you to go all the way to building automation because that's the most energy efficient you're going to get. But again, for your bang for your buck, if you've just got regular thermostats around and you've got a schedule that you do and you just walk around and program each one, but then you're having to go back and check and make sure they're running the schedules they're supposed to be doing with regular stats. Upgrading to smart stats is another great way to get bang for your buck. Just replacing the old-fashioned thermostat with a smart one, and then all of a sudden you can see all of your different units on an app, and you can go ahead and schedule them from there. There are several different smart stat companies out there. Pelican's a real popular one. I know a lot of you guys have heard about them or looked into them. My church uses the ecobee smart stats. They're little round looking ones, kind of like a Nest, but made a little bit more for commercial. And you have the app that can go around on that. Stat 7 is a product that our company puts out as our smart stat, works with our control system, and senses a whole lot more things than just temperature. You can do temperature, you can do lighting level, CO2, and humidity. Obviously, it's got all these different sensors on that package, and then you can make the decision for your AC to run or not run depending on the occupancy there, decided on several other factors besides just temperature and time. So smart stats are a great way if you're working with older buildings and you want to get that, easiest upgrade. That's one of the easiest ones that you can then program the time, get your schedules on there and kind of schedule your HVAC equipment. And I kind of jumped into that, smart stats are getting into the HVAC side, which is a major part of your energy use, right? Lighting, I would say, is probably 30% of most buildings. Of course, every building's different, but the vast majority of your electrical use and gas and heating costs are going to come from your HVAC. Water monitoring. Curious how many folks do that. We can talk about that in discussion a little bit. Are you monitoring how much water use you do? That oftentimes involves installing a flow meter at the first point where it comes in your building, and it's just monitoring everything flowing. There is a company out there I have on here, Leak Defense, the Leak Defense company. I think Hal, you use them, is that correct? Yeah,
Yes.
they're a company that, and looks like Chris does as well. They allow you to set a few parameters yourself, and if your facility is ever using more water than expected and on the parameters that you set at any given time, then it'll send you an alarm. And their specialty, a lot of systems can monitor that water usage and send an alarm on that. Leak Defense has a specialty of you get an app notification and a button on your app to kind of like hit the button and it will activate a solenoid that will turn your water off. So if you're not there, you know the church is supposed to be unoccupied at that point and you get a flow alarm, you can go ahead and turn it off. If it is occupied, you then have the decision tree to get to a point where you can walk around and find that. So water monitoring is something that we do. I want to say just a few churches, but we have a ton of schools that our company, we do, the building automation for schools, and over 700 to 800 water monitors out there that we monitor through our WatchShaver system that monitors that usage, and then we'll send those alarms and alerts to let them know that they've got an issue before, it becomes a major issue. And a lot of times it's just a running toilet. If you have those commercial toilets in your building, then they got those, fancy flushometers at the top that once those things go wrong, it's, 20 gallons a minute, kind of just running down, and having a water monitor can catch that and really, alleviate several thousand gallons from running by the time somebody notices there's this toilet ongoing. So it's another way, just as far as utilities go, to really hop in on knowing what's going on and kind of controlling your environment. Peak demand control. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that. Your peak demand on electrical and knowing how that affects your building or your rates throughout the year. Typically, many power companies, depending, have different rate structures. And if you didn't know that, go check with your power company on, hey, what rate structure am I on and how is it billed and how does that work? That can influence the way that you operate in your building. But many of them are, if you set a peak, most oftentimes down here in the South, that's going to be during the summertime. If you set that peak during August or so of 350 kWh, kilowatts per hour, it was the highest you got to. For the whole next year, they're going to add like 20% and say, we need to provide you with 370 worth of electricity year long. And they're going to bill at that rate of 370. Because one point during the year you hit a 350. They're going to say, oh, at any moment you might need X amount of power, so we're going to bill you at a rate that requires us to provide that for you. So managing whatever that highest peak is can affect your bill for the next 12-month cycle. And that gets into rate structures with your utility provider. Again, if you haven't checked or you don't know which one you're on, look into that. I was just at a conference, got back yesterday from a conference with schools, Georgia School Conference with facility managers. We had a booth out there, but Georgia Power, Southern Company, had two to three booth spaces worth because they actually work very closely with school systems because they have so many buildings on the grid. But they're in constant contact going over rate structures, what the best might be. And real-time pricing rate structure, I'll go over that just as an example of rate structures here in a second. And of course, the Taj Mahal, the creme de la creme of building management, is a full building automation system. They're fairly expensive investment if you don't have one to upgrade to a building automation system. They're being required in a lot of places throughout the United States now if you're doing a new addition or a new building. It's supposed to have some sort of building automation control. And that's again, a green initiative building efficiency system. So building automation systems essentially have a small computer in each of your HVAC units, all communicating back to a main head unit, and you can get a lot more control and efficiency working that way with a full building automation system, lighting, and all sorts of stuff involved. So those are kind of your different levels. I'm hitting the wrong button here. Just different levels of control and strategies you can really get as you try and take control of your building. So still here talking on control, wanted to get into just here's an example of peak demand control. Having this is a picture of if building with an energy consumption tracker on it, and it's if you can see the my little red dot, I'll distract everybody here. But these are 15-minute windows and how much electricity it was using in that 15-minute window. So we can see this facility, the majority is between 600 to 1,000 kWh in any given 15-minute window. We have a whole lot here in the 300 range, probably the highest amount, 1,000 15-minute time periods. I think this is across a whole month. Or this particular graph, I haven't counted out how many 15-minute windows you have here, but this might be looking at this building over a whole year. And this highest one, that's actually fairly low consumption for that building. So that's in the 300 range when it gets all the way up to the 2,400 range. And that's most likely it's nighttime usage. So that's actually kind of a healthy profile. You're saying, hey, at nighttime, the vast majority of the time-wise, 1,000 15-minute windows, I'm running my building at around 300, 325. So fairly low. Having an electricity monitor on your building that's actually keeping trend on this information can help you know this type of information where at nighttime usage, we're sticking here, normal daytime, and then peak demand helps you to know what is my peak. And on this graph, there were 3 periods in this entire year where the peak was running at nearly 2,400 kWh. And so knowing that, it's all about the information in the time, because you're going to know it when you get the bill and your power company says, hey, we're adjusting your rate now from being able to provide 2,000 kWh for your building up to now needing to provide 2,400 because you set a new peak. And so your rate may go from 10 cents a kilowatt to 11 cents a kilowatt for the whole next year. And that's going to have an effect on your building. That's hard to know. That's hard to manage if you're not, if you don't have an electricity monitor on your building that's kind of communicating back with you, where am I at, et cetera, et cetera. And you can have it send you an alarm if you're ever using this an example in a, hey, if I'm ever above 1,800 kWh, send me a notification. And you can get a notification if that's in one day you're hitting that kWh level, or any given moment, 15-minute window. If you're running at this, it'll give you a notification. So you will have the choice to get in there, maybe dial back some of your thermostats, 2 to 3 degrees. You don't want to make everybody uncomfortable if your building's occupied, but a strategy is not take it to unoccupied mode, but picking, say, 40% of your stats around the place and rolling them back 3 to 4 degrees so that they are running less common during this peak time until perhaps the temperature starts to wane back down or the building's back to a controllable point. Another example, just an easier example of what you could do without having an energy monitor. This is an example of a structure that is, you can see the peak first thing in the morning. So here's an energy strategy. This structure is, hey, let's not have everything turn on at the same time at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. This structure you can see actually was empty over the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and back in service on Monday. So maybe it had all of that weekend where it was saving energy, saving electricity across the weekend. That's great. It's in unoccupied mode. but it allowed the temperature to get up so high during the summer, even unoccupied, whatever it's set back to 80 degrees or so, that once it goes into occupied mode on a Monday morning, you see this really high peak. Whereas the rest of the time, this building could manage around 30 kWh, in this range, 30 to 40. You get this peak all the way up here to nearly 60, and that's what your power company will bill you off your highest peak during the year. So one strategy, if you're not implementing, is kind of staged onboarding, especially if your building's been unoccupied for a little while. Just as an example, if you have 12 HVAC units, your power companies normally are measuring this in 15-minute windows. So you could say, break that into thirds. Say 1/3 come on at 6 a.m., the next third come on at 6:15 or 6:20, and the other four, the last four, stage up and come on at 6:45. So that energy spike when everything first turns on is not what you're seeing here in the second graph, but it's more, kind of a stage. It's coming up and then just leveling off once they're all running. Because your lights and HVAC, especially when they first kick on, there is a spike of electricity. It's spiking on. You have big motors that have been dormant that are now turning on. Once they're running, running smooth, just like pedaling a bike. To get started, you really got to push hard. Once you're moving and you have that momentum, it's, just maintaining. Same thing with your HVAC system, kicks on, you get that spike in electricity. So managing those startup timelines, trying to spread them out in 15-minute increments can help more. And talking a little bit more on your rate structure, if you know that rate structure from your power company, another strategy can be, hey, you find out that between 12 a.m. to 7 a.m., there's a certain rate that you get. 7 to noon, you get a different rate that's a little higher, and then noon to 4, you get your highest rate of the day, and then 4 to 12, you're back at a different rate. Knowing if there's a modulating rate structure that you're on or those kind of things. If your electricity is much cheaper in the morning, it might actually be cheaper to turn on your first AC units at 4 a.m. when the electricity cost is very low, kind of like charging your car overnight. Actually turn that guy on at 4 a.m. while your electricity cost is, 3 cents a kilowatt. And then it's just kind of running at maintain, even though it's using more electricity than it should be, so to speak, at 5 or 6 a.m. By the time you get to that next rate hike, 7 a.m. rate hike on your plan, your rate structure, you're actually using less electricity, and you're not going to hit these big morning spikes during the most expensive time, so to speak, on your rate structure. So again, a lot of that is finding out what rate structure you're on. Do they bill at different times of the day, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to see, did I have real-time pricing? I did improve. This is an example of one rate structure that is ultra cheap. With this rate structure, it's just a quick example here. You set a baseline. Your power company will look at your usage across the whole past year in those 15-minute increments, and then lock that in as this is a normal year for you. And the next year, if you go onto this real-time pricing structure, anything in that window of normal usage, in January, your normal usage is this, and in August, your normal usage is this. Whatever's within that normal for you that was set in that baseline on a real-time price structure, they're going to give you at an ultra low rate. Say, hey, this is normal for you. So anything in here, you're going to get 4 cents per kilowatt. Georgia Power does this. We have a, Georgia Power price forecast example here. And Georgia Power has this rate structure. So ultra low prices in the 4 cents most of the time. And then on certain days, Anything above that snapshot that they did of your first year. So if you've got an August day where you normally use 200 kWh, let's say, it's going to be 4 cents for that first 200. Anything above that, now your building is running because it's really hot on that August day compared to last year's, they're going to charge on this alternating rate. So this is an example of you're charging, you're paying 4 cents per kilowatt, and then all of a sudden that's 32. That's 8 times your cost for anything above and beyond your normal that day. So that's a really complicated rate structure that gives you an ultra low rate the majority of the year, but then they do this alternate pricing as an incentive to people to use less when they know their grid is going to be really stressed. The biggest example that we saw from them this year, because we tracked this for several customers, was when school started in August. That first week of August here in Georgia, one of the hottest weeks of the year, and all of the schools have their open house going on, and all the doors are open. Parents are in and out, kids are in and out, and AC is running full blast. So they knew their grid was going to be extra stressed. And so they actually had the biggest rate spike of the year this year in that first week of August. So again, that's just an example of a rate structure. You could go to your power company, say, hey, what's available to us? That's one to give you ultra low rates, but you really got to know what's coming. The rate adjusts, you got to be prepared for when's it going to be high, because I can save all year long, but those 3 high spikes throughout the year can hit you for an extra $10,000 just on that one bill if you're not watching the rate structure. So if you're on that, have a way to know what's coming up, what's watching, and for you guys, if you're able to say, hey, the elders meeting and this program that's going on, we're going to move those off-site for tomorrow because our rates are going to be 15 times what they normally are for electricity, and we'd like to keep it baseline. If you only have a few functioning at the church, you can proactively work to see if those can get moved other places so that you maintain your baseline for as long as you can, or have them come in the morning as opposed to right during peak times, those kind of things. So great rate structure 95% of the time. And if you can manage that 5%, you can save a lot of money on things like that. So that's an example of getting with your power company. So those are ways that you can control, strategies to control, and wanted to just jump through some kind of track and communicate. Are you tracking air quality, HVAC trend, electricity, water? These are things that if you're not actually monitoring or tracking these things, those are good ideas to look into ways that you can. How can I begin to find out what's going on overall? And again, we started with, our product, Watt Shaver product is can track any of these things, put any of them in there, HVAC trend, air quality, electricity, water, any of it. You can set your own alarms, your own paces off of that, but it can help report to you and let you know what's going on in your building kind of 24/7 before you get those bills at the end of the month. So again, another example of just an energy monitor letting you know what time of day. I'm using more electricity here at 4 a.m. than normally the building's in away mode. So that's just an example there of tracking electricity, letting you know when you're using it, how it's being consumed. Turning your building kind of in a two-way conversation. Here's an example of a water monitor, learning the normal pattern and usage of your water at your facility, and all of a sudden something else is going on here on the 28th. A toilet is constantly running, or a sink was left on, or a water heater has broken. You guys know the water issues that can happen. And this facility was notified within just a few hours of this abnormality happening, rather than it being several days ongoing. So then, is your building communicating with you? Getting into that two-way conversation again. And that's where we can take this same electrical usage, and your building can communicate to you, hey, this between 5 to 12 p.m., you don't normally run this much electricity, but here are times when you are. And you can decide if that's normal. Oh yeah, well, Thursday night we had a youth event at the church, gave me an alarm because we had the outside lights running far longer than we normally do. That's good to know. Now, the next day and the day after that, if you got the same alert, it would click your head to go, oh, I forgot to reset those outside lights and get them back to normal time, et cetera, et cetera. Who knows how long that might run before you're notified that, you know, lights are running. Or you drive by the church one evening late at 11 o'clock and see that a whole lot of lights are all on that shouldn't be. Those kind of things. So having your building kind of communicate to you, learning your normal usage and communicate to you is invaluable. And I want to get to some conversation, so I'm trying to just run through this last bit here. This is an example of a report you can get off an energy monitor. This is a facility that was kind of reporting usage versus prior usage, et cetera, et cetera. We'll show when your highest peak was during that last week. This, we can look back actually this week compared to last week is a little bit higher. That's why we got a, you know, kind of a high usage report on this one based off of 4 weeks ago. You know, and I'm not actually sure when this report was run, whether that was winter, but we can see 52 weeks ago that it was more than double. And so I actually, when I saw this, I went back and pulled up that 52 weeks ago report. And here, this facility was running 24/7 for something. And it may have been, they put in a new gymnasium floor and they had to run that HVAC 24/7 to climatize the floor, whatever it was. We did a little research on this when we found this issue and found that this anomaly the prior year had cost this facility $30,000 in extra electricity running full time. Now, if that was a mistake, if that was not what they intended to do, this system having an electrical monitor on there would alert you immediately and say, hey, this is high usage compared to, you can see this chart here, compared to prior weeks or a normal usage. So once it starts going down that road, you get notified if you got an electrical monitor. So a lot of people are not sure how electricity monitors, how is that helping me? Having one that's communicating to you, learning the pattern of your building and communicating back, hey, usage is different than it normally is. Sometimes you know that, sometimes it's anticipated, and the times that it's not, it can save you a lot of money. Same thing with water, just an example. Water could be running for a long time, et cetera, et cetera. So those are some strategies. I want to respect your time and not talk the whole time, kind of get to more roundtable conversation. Is there anything that piqued your mind as we were going through this, or examples you have at your church, et cetera? I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions. And also how you guys, what level of control you have at your building and what you would like to look to next.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think Joe had submitted a question about understanding peak demand and practices that will help reduce utility bills. Did the presentation help you, Joe, or do you have any other questions?
Yeah, you kind of give me a little bit more insight, Jonathan, into what I was looking for. I mean, we have 20 some units, 10 or 11 or 20 to 30 ton, and then I have some smaller ones. And I actually have been staggering the start times in the morning in order to, not have everything start at once and try to keep my peak demand down. So yeah, what the information you gave just recently just kind of confirms and reassures me that we're kind of on the right track of doing what's best for our utility bills. So thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, great. Glad to hear that helped with some of the questions. Love to hear, is anybody else using that strategy Is that working out for you? Is there any situations where it may not be?
I stagger all of mine, but I can also, I have the watt shaver so I can look and see how it affects.
The staggering still has to be at a great enough time that it's not caught by that meter. But additionally, that peak rides on your base. So if you have a lot of base running, you're also increasing the size of that peak. So if you could shave the base when those starts occur, you actually reduce those peaks as well.
Mhm.
Jonathan, you mentioned the leak detector. We had hoped that the leak detector would be a calibrated, accurate measurement of total gallons. That is not the truth. And so in installing ours, because it was on such a large water line, we had to calibrate it. And in calibrating it, all you're doing is also just picking you're just picking a flow rate, and they change the voltage. And so it is a great indicator that something's happening, but it's not telling you how much your meter is running. So my meter that I purchased out at the street when we upgraded the building does have cables to hook up a device, but as soon as you install it, it's owned by the county or whoever your municipality is. And so then they're monitoring it, and if you had an additional monitoring device in place, you could see an accuracy. But it is a tool that I've used to hunt down some small leaks by just sitting there watching it and run around the building and seeing what's causing those. But it doesn't tell you exactly your usage.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes. Working with a lot of the engineers here at our company at HI Solutions, that calibration is super important, all depending on device. Like you said, we most commonly use pulse meters that just they're kind of the most simple. The one you're describing kind of altered the voltage depending is what it sounded like. And so that takes a lot of calibration in the system of knowing the voltage per gallon of flow. If you're on a pulse meter, you can set it, or you can purchase that pulse meter to pulse at every 5 gallons. It just gives a click. Or every 10 gallons, it'll give a click. And that pulse meter, as things are flowing, it'll be a small click or a click, 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 if you're using a whole lot of water at your facility. That's very simplified, but can be, down to the 5 gallon more accurate, because it does take a system that then interprets that, how many clicks per minute are you using? 5 clicks per minute might be 50 gallons a minute. That's a whole lot, those kind of things. But our system that monitors that, we normally use those pulse meters, and then we have an algorithm that averages those pulses, per minute, and what does that equal out to, for your gallons of flow. So is it precise gallons? We can get pretty close if we average that across, full days. Yes, we will actually be overall in a whole day precise, and within 5-minute window we will be pretty close. So it does take that type of programming between the style of meter you have and the monitoring system you're using on top of it. Yeah.
Joe, you have another question?
Well, yeah, so I'm been in the process over the last 4 to 6 weeks of just looking into leak defense. We just had a hot water heater ruptured. Fortunately, I don't know if that's the proper word, but fortunately it happened between services. So we were able to shut it off and clean it up pretty quickly. And I've had hot water heaters go in the past when I wasn't in the building, and ran all night and did some major damage. And with our insurance deductibles going up, I mean, and with a $10,000 deductible, it's like, so anyway, make a long story short, I'm looking into leak defense right now. But I guess after what Chris was just saying, we have a well and we have a septic system. So I installed a water meter on the incoming line several years ago in order to determine when we put the addition on whether I had approved to the Board of Health that our septic system was still capable of handling the additional capacity. So is there a way that I could tie that water meter into the leak defense to help calibrate that system? And I'm not sure, Jonathan, if that's a question you can answer, but
I'm not as familiar with leak defense. So if say anybody else uses that, maybe could answer that, James.
So I would say on that meter, it depends on where you install the leak defense. So if you install the leak defense probably right before the meter,
that's what I was planning.
then you probably can get the meter to gauge what you're looking for, in my opinion.
Okay.
I love leak defense. Like Chris said, like if you're looking for how much consumption, it's not going to do that. But if you're looking at, like, for example, I had a leak and I couldn't find it. I spent 24 hours looking for it all through the building. But because of leak defense, it got me to where I was looking for it. So when I did finally find it about 24 hours later, instead of me finding it 3 weeks later, I found it 24 hours. And instead of my water bill being $15,000 on up, it was just a couple of thousand. But point being is the leak defense, if you buy them, will pay yourself back, because if you have a toilet urinal that's running continuously, you'll catch that, and your money savings behind paying back for the leak defense is going to be in that. I have 4 of them at Lake Church.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I got a couple recirculating systems, and so I'm looking at putting one at the main line coming in, and then probably strategically placing some other ones, as well as some water sensors and whatnot. So, yeah, thanks.
Well, the best thing too is you can literally shut the water off from your phone instead of having go and get the big water key out of your office, running out to the meter, shutting it off. So like for me, I have a gym and a shower area. So when I know the head pastor is going to take a shower, I can shut the water off on him. And I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Well, we've had the kids leave the faucet running all night long, where youth group was there, and not everybody checks the bathrooms to make sure water's running. So came in the morning and the sink was running all night long, and it would notify me of that, and I could shut off the water. And but unfortunately the sink didn't overflow. But like I said, one of my hot waters went, we had significant damage, and I'm just looking to avoid those kind of problems in the future. So
no, and that's what. So I'd installed my first one when we were up in Chicago in that conference, right? NACFM conference. Well, we're fixing to get on the bus to go to Wrigley Field for the Cubs game, and I get a notification stating, "Hey, your recreation building, the water's fixing to shut off." Well, we had basketball camp going on. Kid left the water running, and instead of finding it days down the road, it let me know, because you set parameters on when it detects it for you and notifies you. I have it for 45 minutes just because in case somebody's taking a shower. But yeah, I mean, finding it in 45 minutes, had them go shut off the water and turn the water back on, and we were back to normal.
yeah, I mean, we're in a northern climate too. I have had pipes freeze, and if it happens at night and it ruptures and it starts leaking, you got a big mess when you come in the morning. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, James. I appreciate it.
The nice thing about the leak defense is if it'll notify you through either text or push through the app on the phone, but if you don't do anything, in a minute it will shut the water off. And so you have that safety that you don't have to wake up for that alert in the middle of the night. It's going to take care of it, and you'll see it in the morning and be able to deal with it then.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah. My question, since I don't have leak defense, they're a company. But do you have the ability to turn the water back on remotely, or do you have to be on site to
Yes.
do that?
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My guys like it because if he's replacing a valve somewhere else in the building, he doesn't have to walk all the way across the building, turn the water off, go back and do the job. He can open his phone, turn the water off to the building,
Mhm.
change that valve, and turn it back on. And he doesn't have to run back to see if it's leaking.
Sure.
So
When
Yeah,
and that's the beauty, Joe, is like if you're sitting there, at home watching TV, it's 8, 9 o'clock at night, and you get a little bing that you may have an issue, and nobody's in your building right now or supposed to be.
Mhm.
You can just let it, like Cal said, you can just let it go into default and it shuts the water off and go, you know what? I'll address this tomorrow. Because beforehand, you may get a call instead and you got to run up there and figure out a way to shut the water off and then go back, so it's just a nice little, we're already up there enough, it's just one added thing that allows you to kind of enjoy a little bit of a life.
Can I ask you one other question? And James and Hal, you guys seem to know a little bit more about it. So I have these recirculating loops. So, if I shut the water off, that's one thing, but I have pressure. So I'm digging into the specs on all the different components that are available and how I'm going to install them at different locations. But I believe I could shut the circulator pumps off as well.
yeah.
And then and because I mean, obviously shutting the water off, I still got pressure that's gonna, it's gonna pump water out until the pressure drops. Is there a way to relieve that pressure as well?
So when you go to purchase the leak defense, they send you a form, and on that form you note that you have a recirculating pump,
Okay.
and in there are contacts on the back of the controller that you connect to a relay that will shut off the pump in your recirculator.
Okay.
So then that relieves that pressure. And it
Okay.
also keeps you from running that pump dry and having to
Right.
replace a pump too.
Ruining the pump. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody you're talking to at Leak Defense right now?
AM. There's I don't know his name off the top of the head, but I reached out and a gentleman, one of the operations sales from California, got back to me. I had a really good conversation with him. Sounds like they work with churches too as well.
Mhm.
And
There's a guy that actually works with NACFM. They used to be NACFM vendors, and they want to be again. It's just he keeps forgetting to sign back up. But his name's Ken Fox.
I believe that's who I spoke with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring up Hal and James's name, and you'll probably get charged a little bit more.
Well, we do get a little break on our insurance premiums because we have it.
Well, that's the other thing. I had a sprinkler head froze, and last winter in January, it went down to -10, which was a little bit abnormal for us. And I had $140,000 worth of damage and pretty substantial insurance claim. Fortunately, I was in the building when that happened, trying to defrost the water pipe, and was able to shut we have a 10,000-gallon tank outside. Like I said, we have a well and a septic. We're totally self-contained, but I did pump. Boy, it didn't take long to pump 2,000 gallons, 3,000 gallons of water out, and what a mess. But I know there's a way you can put a sensor on your sprinkler system as well that will at least, because it's life safety, you can't shut it off, but you could at least it'll notify you that you got a problem, so to speak.
Well, are you saying
fire
sprinkler or landscaping?
No, fire sprinkler.
Yeah, that should go ahead and call the fire department when there's flow, because I have a flow indicator on mine.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would have, but yeah, I mean, if I wasn't there, we would have pumped the whole tank empty, 10,000 gallons. So fortunately, I was able to shut it off because I was there. And I can imagine what the damage would have been with 10,000 gallons versus 3, so.
You might want to check your codes on that, because I know in Texas, we can't put anything that hinders the fire sprinkler system at all.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. I believe it just gives you a signal that that it's running. It can't shut it off, but it'll tell you that, hey, it went off. I mean, I guess eventually the alarm company is going to call me too.
Yeah.
So, but I might get a 10-minute jump on my drive over to the facility to try to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So back
All
to
right.
that calibrating that thing, when you install that, like what James did, what I did was I opened up a 3/4 inch line and counted and measured the amount of water that went through there, then compared that to the leak defense calibration. Now I know what 70% on leak defense means. Like I know
Okay.
how much water. Then I extrapolate that to, it's not 100% accurate, linear, but now I know I've got a 3 gallon per minute leak. I've got a 10 gallon per minute leak.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had a toilet that was running, and I got like 50 toilets, and I had one that was running constantly. It got stuck, the diaphragm stuck or whatever, and it was running for like weeks till we found it. We didn't even realize it. So, I mean, fortunately, I'm not paying for the water bill. I'm still running the well pump, but and filling my septic system up, which I have to maintain as well. But that's the kind of things I'm trying to get a little bit of handle on. All right. Well, this has been very helpful. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and other issues talking about water monitoring. Sometimes those leaks are well, in the ground before they hit your building. You're not going to get notified of that if you're monitoring in the building. But had one school that we dealt with where their leak was in the floor in a P-trap primer in one of the drains. It just slowly refill that drain to keep the vapors from coming up the drain, and it just prime it every so often. Well, that primer broke and it was just running like a hose and under the floor, draining out the drain. And that could have run, and it was in a back, facilities closet somewhere. And that could have run for months and months before anybody knew anything. You get one high bill and that's high. You get 2 high bills in a row, before you know something. So that's something where we're having a water monitor of some sort on site can help those. You're as James was saying, you don't know where it is, but it gives you the incentive to walk around your place until you find it. That particular school, they took, I think it was a week and a half to find that one because they walked everywhere, sent 3 different crews out. Nobody could find where this was. I think until the supervisor went on site himself and was walking around and heard that something running in the floor while he was in that closet. So they can be sneaky, but having a water monitor can save you thousands. Pay for itself first leak you catch.
So not to change subject here, but Jonathan, if so your product, we'll get some more information about the product and service that you provide.
Sure.
So we already have a building automation system as far as controlling our HVAC and do you tie into that existing system or existing systems, so to speak?
Yes,
Okay.
sure can. A product we would send out, we suggest the energy monitoring to really know what's going on, that sense of your building and give you that information, like that water monitor, but for your building and a whole lot more smart analytics that comes with that. You can put that on and have it, you hook it to the internet, it reports directly into wattshaver.com. But it comes with all of the building automation languages built in, BACnet, Modbus, you name it. Our building, it comes with one of our building controllers in it, HI Solutions building controller, and that can go up both, send information to WattShaver so you get all that analytics reporting, but also send that electrical information into your building automation system so you can set it up under there and view it as well.
Okay, and now let me ask you this too. So I've converted the entire building over to LED, and we have motion sensors, but I don't have really any kind of monitoring on that. So I mean, it does its job. If rooms are unoccupied, the lights go out. If people leave the lights on, they go out. I got LEDs everywhere, just about. I got timers for the parking lot to manage all my, loads that are outside and whatnot. And, but are you able to tie into the lighting portion of my building, even though I don't have any kind of control system with my lighting?
That depends. Like if you're just running off of motion timers, not really. It would have to be built into the building automation
All
system.
right. All right.
Yes, and to your point, if you've got a full building automation system, if you're not have trend monitoring, or I suppose you get some alerts through that, or monitoring. If not, the watch shaver system, if you have one of our controllers on site, we often can essentially hook in to back with BACnet into your building automation system, and it kind of goes out there and learns all the devices on your system, and we see what we can point. And we can often bring all of those points up into WatchShaver, where you can then set a monitor on any one of those individual points. So we're working specifically kind of with folks with Pelican systems. If you got a Pelican thermostats around, bringing all the information from the Pelican stats in, and allowing you to set your own alarms and system off of that type of thing. So we integrate with other systems to get that tracking, the track and communicate part. If you're doing the control part, we try and come alongside and do that track and communicate with our devices as well.
Forward to getting some more information and digging into it a little more. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, James.
Call him out of the dark.
That's okay. You folding laundry back there, buddy? Because we're all watching.
He's muted.
Nice how it pops up in the midst of an ACFM screen. It's just like,
Then there's James folding some pants. Hey, you're muted, so we don't have to hear you.
Yes, I'm
All right.
packing. Yes, I'm packing. I have
There
an
any
early
other
flight.
questions?
So is everybody on here planning to come in June to Hal's beautiful facility and be at the conference? It's your first time. If you don't like it, you can blame Tori.
we love to see you all.
Yep.
No, it's plan on it, guys. It's such a it's an amazing time to just get to know people that do what you do every single day. You build relationships. I was out in Rock Hill, South Carolina a couple months ago, got to visit Michael White there at his facility, and he toured me around, showed me what he goes through every single day, and all that was built through him coming to my place and doing the CP classes, stuff like that. You start building those relationships, and next thing you know, you got a buddy somewhere across the United States. So highly recommend you guys coming to the conference. Everybody doing all right? Anybody need any prayers? All right, I'm going to shut up.
It's just going to say, if you are considering a building automation system and don't have one, and you're also considering coming to the conference in June, we're going to be there. That's 30 minutes away from us at Hal's facility, and he has our full building automation control system there. So if you're interested in that and are looking into what would it take to get a system, or want to learn some of the ins and outs, and while you're at the conference, really pick Hal's brain about it, and we'll be there as well. So you can, explore that idea as far as you'd like to.
Are we
Just
going to
put
be
that-
sharing that information so maybe we can contact you earlier?
Absolutely. I can share something with Hal and Aaron here, and, they
Yeah.
can send it out to you guys to ways to contact us, or, super easy way is, y'all saw the Watch Shaver, if you can remember that, watchshaver.com. That'll take you to, just our promotional website of that part of the business, the monitoring side of our business. and you can hop right on my calendar and we can have a one-on-one and give you a demo or whatever, if answer any other questions you have.
Okay.
So there's a way to get to me on the calendar there. Yeah, I just want to say thanks again, guys, for the invite and for the discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Really enjoyed it.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Whether it's on this or any other topic? Don't everybody speak at once. All right. Well, thank you, Jonathan. Thank all of y'all for from hopping on here and participating. And James, can you pray us out?
I guess. Heavenly Father, just thank you for this time. Thank you for this organization and just being able to build relationships. Biggest thing is just thank you for you and your son dying on the cross for our sins and our salvation, Lord. Just ask that you lift each and every one of these people and everybody in the facility, church facility realm, and just one that they always remember that it's about your kingdom and everything we do is about glorifying you. We just ask that you continue to watch over us, guide us, and guide our walk every single day, and just be with our friends, family, and all our loved ones as they have to put up with the facility and us being facility professionals as well. So, just ask that you be with each and every one of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All
Thank
right.
y'all.
See y'all in
Thanks,
June, guys.
Chris.
Thanks,
Stay
guys.
tuned for 2026 dates. We'll announce those soon. This is the last roundtable of this year, but we'll see you in January or February.
Well, in that case, everybody that's got all their Christmas and holiday productions, I feel sorry for each and every one of you because I don't deal with that no more. So, no. Now, just to say, hey, man, don't let that get to you. Continue doing God's work. You guys enjoy.
See you next time.
See y'all.